Vijay Jacob is a Gallup certified strengths coach and manager of the ACC Career Services Today's Jobs team. And the team facilitates the free strategies for today's jobs course. He could have a bio this long, and this is how modest this guy is. I welcome Vijay for his presentation on the strengths-based job search. Give me a hand. Woo!
It's great. We're excited. It's been about, I think, we're going almost a year since the in-person meetings have been held here at the Accelerator. So we're always grateful for the opportunity to collaborate because we want to help anyone in Austin advance their job, their life and career through finding a job. And so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and we'll kind of get into it. So today we'll talk about the power of strengths, and I'll tell you why in a moment. This is an important topic for me, for you. We'll do some more reflection. This question, you'll talk more with each other, and then I'll kind of just give you some tips on how you can approach your job search through a strengths reframe. Because, and then if we have questions, I'll be here after. Usually I'm in that, well, I have meetings, but when I'm not having meetings, I'm physically in the career corner right here in the Accelerator. And so if you have in-person meetings with our team, it would be here in the Accelerator in the career corner. My email is here on the board, also on the screen. You can reach out to me, and then I can meet with you. I know a couple of you have done that. With our strategies class, our next one will start September 29th. That's so we've got 2 cohorts starting next month, like a Monday, Wednesday evening, Tuesday, Thursday evening. Both, I just want to make sure, clarify, both are from 5 to 7 p.m. We've had to kind of, so just make a note on that. But the best way I would describe what we do is we provide a guided process for you to kind of gain clarity, focus, and confidence in your strategy. I want to be clear, every time I come here and I talk about strengths, I'll always get an email like, Vijay, that was great, but, oh, that was so positive, but, because the reality, so I don't want to negate how hard it is to job search. There are a lot of variables that are like external forces happening. And so what I intentionally focus on is focus on the person, because you are the product. All right, and I don't want to negate any of the great advice and tips. We do that in our course, best practices, but ultimately, you having clarity or confidence in who you are and what the difference you can make is a momentum builder in how you talk about yourself and how you tell your story for impact. Because we all want a job, and it's like, we need to make money. There's all these financial goals, but ultimately, it's about what is the difference you will make? How does the difference, communicating that difference that you'll make for whoever's hiring you. All of you have unique strengths, abilities, unique stories, and so there's a great possibility for you to be able to communicate what you do best. And so we'll talk about that in a second as we kind of go through that. As well. All right, so I always share this quote, but I want to set the stage because anytime I talk about strengths-based mindset, there's always kind of like, why is this important? Again, I don't want to negate, there are a lot of changes, even disruptions because of AI. We're both making history, but we're living in history. And so it's really important that you focus on what is your unique value proposition, who you are as a person, because depending on the week, and you see it on LinkedIn all the time or wherever, some people are like, AI is going to steal our jobs. And I'm not saying it won't, but then you hear the opposite. Oh man, we're tired of just the AI, everything's about robots, the depersonalization, and then people are like, there's a whole industry where people are like, go become even more human-centered, more person-centered. And so the best way in this churn for you to be focused on what you do well is focus on what you can control. And what you can control is your understanding of what you do well and how you communicate that to various contexts. And I want to be very real with all of you. We're living, gone is the mindset of I build a career, okay, a ladder. Like, we are living in a day and age where the future is like multiple pivots. Some of you who spent 20 years in one, a healthy way to think of it is you're just starting the next season of your career journey, because that's the reality of the rate of disruption. Even if you've like, been out of work multiple, like you're all doing something, and so it's important to lead with a strengths-based approach. And this has helped me personally because like 5 years ago, so I'd been in California working in a higher ed institution. 11 years there, like was at a director level, and through significant budget downsizing, my position was made like part-time, no benefits. I have a family, 2 kids, and so for me in that moment, I realized like, hey, like I want to continue in that track, and so I had that career mindset. I want to stay in international higher ed administration, and so I found a job, like being an immigration advisor, because that's a skill set you needed in that career path, that brought me here to UT Austin. But then, in doing so, I realized, man, I'm doing this job, but it's not tapping into my strengths. And then it caused me to, like, through coaching, realize, like, hey, I do my best work when I'm not just, in that job I was working with people, but then doing a lot of administrative immigration paperwork. And I realized, like, I do my best work when I'm working with groups of people to kind of move something forward. So the strength-based mindset has been important to me because by leading with strengths, I've been able to have the courage to quit, to move, to enter new possibilities, because, and it's not just me, all of you can, to reimagine, because if what I'm doing now, it wasn't on my radar 5 years ago, right? And so this is why this is so important, because whether it's in 2025 or 2030 or whatever seasons you move into, this mindset can help you because you're shaping that next door while you're in the current season that you're in. All right, so
I'll just make one comment.
Yeah.
I commend you for that first and foremost, but it's interesting because like recruiters don't see it that way.
Yeah, so
because like they'll penalize you if you make choices to leave an organization.
yeah, and again, this is so I'm not negating the tough reality. Rejection and like differences in opinion are going to exist. I'm going to focus on you and what is your mindset and how you approach that. So in a nutshell, strength-based versus deficit, we're talking about what's right, what do you do well, versus what's wrong, like what am I missing? And this is especially important in the job search because like when we're going through like a significant tech like disruption, right? Every week you're all hearing like, hey, here's what you need to upskill in. And I'm not, and you need to pay attention to that. But if you don't lead with who you are, it's going, and you only start with what am I missing, you may lose yourself and the value you bring in leveraging the new tools or skills that will help you in your next role, whatever you're pivoting. And you may miss out on, I think someone was saying I have transferable skills that apply from this to that. Like I heard multiple, right? If you don't start with strength-based, you may miss an opportunity to communicate or like the value from one area to another that could be like, is so unique that no one else brings. So this is what's at stake, especially in the job search. And if this slide kind of plays it out more even. It's moving from, it's kind of moving from why might they not hire me, to how can I uniquely contribute to this role. And if you're in the room and you've had a significant career gap for various reasons, what I've noticed is always the story you tell about yourself often begins with like the last event before the gap or whatever, right? But in the shift of mindset, even if you've had a gap, you're doing things in different ways. You need to be able to tell a strength-based story of how what you're doing in this moment is kind of preparing you for what's next. And so this is super important because there are no quick fixes. We never promise, like, do these three-step process because there are so many variables. Human beings, by default, are messy. And so hiring systems that are created, I guess if there's AI, it's a whole different conversation, but it's messy by nature, and so it's really important. Focus on what you can, because in the job search, when you are hitting walls or dealing with rejections, if you have clarity and focus on who you are, it can help you to go like, oh man, all right, this didn't work out. It stinks. I feel bad about it. But I have the energy and the wind in my sails to keep moving forward, right? So that's kind of why what we're talking about today. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate the power of leading with a strengths mindset. I want all of you to grab a piece of paper or pen or borrow it from a friend you all networked. And here's what you're going to do in a second, all right? I'm going to have you write this phrase. I use my strengths every day in a second, all right? Just wait. I'm going to time you all. Okay? You're going to write it 3 times. We're going to do this as a group, collectively. I'm going to start the timer. When you're done individually, I want you to raise your hand, and then I'll stop the timer when everyone in the room is kind of finished. If you don't want to participate, totally fine. But so you're going to, when I hit the timer, you're going to write, and here's the catch, with your non-dominant hand. And again, if you for some reason can't, or it's okay, we'll kind of do this together. All right, everyone ready? All right. All right, so with your non-dominant hand, hold on, let me find the.
That's not short either.
All right, and then it's intentional. Yeah, ready, set, write it 3 times, go. All right, in general, I'll just do an average. All right, it's about 1:30, all right? Okay, so I'm just going to have you redo it really quickly. Just do it with your dominant hand right now. So we got hands popping up much sooner, okay? And so what are some reflections on this activity that are coming to mind as it relates to you and the job search? Okay.
Doing what you're used to doing, but moving forward with that.
Okay, yeah.
You have to focus more when you're doing it with your non-dominant hand.
Yeah, so this is, any other thoughts, and I'll draw some, yeah. Yeah, and it may be needed, but yeah. Any other thoughts? From the first time or the second time?
By the third time also.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. The repetition, yeah, okay.
Being intentional.
Yeah, tell me more.
Being intentional. It's like you can't write. You don't have that same clarity.
Oh, yeah, with your non-dominant hand. Yeah, it takes more energy and effort, right? Yeah, and you're going deeper. So again, I want to clarify, any exercise or metaphor has limitations, but the main point I want to drive home is this, all right? Often when you are in a job search or transition, you're focusing on what gap do I need to fill? Like, there's that deficit gap mindset, right? And so you get so much helpful information online, like, hey, here are the things you need to do to get through ATS, or like, here's the high impact strategy that landed me a high tech job, at Google. If you do these 3 things on your resume, or if you go to XYZ, there's always these tactics strategy based, but you need to find out like what works or connects with you, because ultimately that's what's going to keep the resilience for you in the job search, because the data shows in 2025, like the job search process is longer, okay? Not for even for early career recent graduates, because of AI disruption, the time on market is longer, and so this is a more resilient way to stay focused and maintain clarity, courage, and confidence in the process. All right, so what we're going to do is, in the time we're going to do an act, and this will be kind of the main thing. So when we do coaching, or from a strength-based standpoint, we're always mining. We're asking these questions from your life story on that give indicator of hidden strengths, dormant strengths, underdeveloped strengths that you can leverage as you to talk about in your branding pitch when you're talking about pivoting. So I'm going to give you a few moments individually, and you don't have to answer all these questions, but I want you to pick at least one, and I want you to think of the story that comes to mind when you that's prompted by this question. So I'll just read it out. What are you like when you are at your best? So you may picture a moment, and just to be clear, I'm not. You don't necessarily have to focus only on your work life. I'm talking about whole life. Like it could be work life, but maybe there's the first story that comes to mind is beyond whatever paid or volunteer job, quote unquote job, you had. So think about a recent good day. What made it such a good day? What were you doing? Like, what do you enjoy doing? Maybe another way to phrase it, what do you enjoy doing so much that you lose track of time? Like you just do it. Like you could do it for hours on end and it would never de-energize you. What are you good at? Like, and so take a few moments. I'll give you about 3 minutes to do that. And then I'm gonna have you pair and share with some folks around you your responses. So when we pair and share, you're gonna pick one response to share with your partner. So I'll give you 3 minutes. Everyone, how's everyone? Don't worry if you don't have, you're not like writing your like final life story. So what I'd like you to do is decide what, if you share your story, response to one of these questions with your partner. So why don't you pair and share, and then we'll kind of do a debrief after. So I'll give you about 5 minutes to do that, and make sure both of you are sharing. Both of you get to share. All right. We'll wrap up right now. So a couple of questions. All right, I'd love to hear from 4 of you in the room, because there's 4 questions. Tell just so all of us can hear, what was the story you shared? So would like 2 or 3 of you be willing to share your response just for the entire group? Or maybe your partner can volunteer your part. If you heard a good story, you can tell them. So it made it so it was the act of hanging with people. These are friends. Okay, so we got some coaches. Okay, so and what is the target job that you're interested in?
Clerical.
Okay, so like, let's throw us out this room because we're kind of like you all are kind of you're catching the drift. How would you remind me of your name again? Wendy. How would so if you heard Wendy said I'm at my best when I'm in community and I'm seeking clerical roles. What advice would you give to Wendy if you heard that? Like she loves being with people in community and she's seeking clerical roles. Okay, yeah.
Or like maybe the children's department where there's a lot of like interaction, social availability, you know what I mean? Something where like
Yeah, so use the people energy to kind of, instead of leading with clerical, use people as that energizes you to kind of find those clerical roles. Because you can do clerical in anything, right? And then also for job searching, you know, like if you like being in community, you're at Launchpad, but could there be, I don't know if there is, it'd be funny if there's a clerical networking associate, I don't know. But you could leverage that, all right? So at the intro, you said your target job is, okay, I'm gonna throw it out to the group, all right? All right, we just heard Robert go like, man, my recent flow state was, I was fire spinning and dancing, and he's interested in an IT job. What is how could you see this as being a value add, the strength of being in the flow state for that? Oh. Well, it's super cool, yeah. Okay, we'll go right here and then we'll open it, yeah.
you could look for a like circus
Okay, okay. Okay. Well, let me just do. This is great. Okay, so do you notice? I'm just highlighting by. Sometimes I think you're like, Vijay, this is so simple. Does it work? Sometimes the most simple things can actually be the most high impact because it's kind of resonating. So this idea, the value differentiation, not many it's a cool value differentiator, in that space, right? But what she suggested specifically was you could target artsy creative companies, because when you write your cover letter, they check your LinkedIn. That's the leading edge that will, and then when you're in an interview, you're like, man, I'm so excited to apply for this company. I'm a born creative with an IT process analytic skill set, right? And there's ways in which you can combine that. All right. Does anyone else want to kind of have fun with this? Okay, go ahead. Okay, so yeah, tell the story. Yeah, in the response. Yeah. So Taylor, I'm gonna kind of spotlight you because everyone remember what Taylor said in his intro. What was the word he used to describe himself? It has to do with networking. What did Taylor say? Okay, corporate hippie, but there's a key word. Even if you go to his LinkedIn, you'll see it on his posts. He keeps going back to this. Maybe we'll just
Sustainability.
But you said I'm a networker. What was it?
Networker by day trade?
Yeah, something about I'm a super networker. I don't know if you remember, right? And you keep using that because I know on your LinkedIn. So my challenge with you is you're interested in areas that are like sustainability, but how could are there roles where you're networking?
Business development.
Yeah. So for example, all right. So anyways, these are questions that the energy kind of sparks. You think of creative, and this can help you because ultimately in interview, tell me about yourself. Why? You can then find creative ways to think of the key words. And so if we were to spend more time, I would say what were the common words or skills that came up in the story? What were you doing? How could you translate it to what you're aiming for? Does anyone else have any thoughts or comments? Go ahead.
Well, I'm really intrigued by this bridge idea. How can we do that on our own?
Yeah, so what we just did is really scalable. So so here's a practical action item that all of you can do. Take a few moments, in the next week, find your happy, the spot where you, maybe it's a coffee shop, I don't know, overlooking Lake Travis, I don't know what you do, but reflect, because there's the simplicity, the genius of this is you're just reflecting on your life. Like my friend over here who said I was reminded about this hidden talent that I didn't know, so there could be, as you think about your journey, a lot of times people have tunnel vision when you're in between because you're thinking, and rightly so, you want to make income, but if you're thinking in terms of title, it makes it hard for you in an interview to talk about what you do too well, all right? So here's the conclusion. Hopefully I've demonstrated that, is when you lean in with this approach, it can help you generate confidence, build engagement, and then ultimately help people see the difference you can make, all right? And so
Detach from the idea of title?
Potentially, this is not a one, because I think the rate of change and how industries are being disrupted, there could be roles or titles that are currently being created that play to your strengths. And so if you're only searching by what a title, you could actually be limiting. I'm not saying not to, but I'm just challenging you to expand your possibilities from a strength base, because you may have had a passion, I'm thinking of, for animals, right? And you've done stuff like that. That could be actually the doorway into a career related to that, right? And so yeah, and sometimes, especially if you've had success in a specific area, a company, there's been that kind of ladder mindset. You're gonna start searching by this, but we're in such an age of disruption that you need to start with strengths, Because there are roles that are doing the similar thing in another area, but they're not the same title, right? And so that's something to be aware of. Yeah. And one thing that I know Launchpad have done is I'm a Gallup certified strengths coach, and so if you go to the Gallup website, you take your Clifton assessment. There's variations, like the simplest. There's different price points. You decide. You can schedule coaching with me, and I'd love to kind of debrief your report. I've done that with numerous individuals here at Launchpad, and what's powerful about this is sometimes we struggle to find the words to do what we do best because it's so natural to you. You're like, oh, it's like I do this, and probably everyone else does this, but it could be the case that it's only you that can do it, right? And so this helps kind of give language to that. And so consider taking Clifton Strengths. You can schedule coaching with me, and then take our strategies class. We we don't do the Clifton assessment for all of it because of just various factors, but in the tech job search specifically, because we've noticed a trend of like individuals struggling to talk about like their strength value proposition. So we incorporate that as part of the tech job search, but our strength-based approach, as demonstrated by the questions, is in part of what we do in the class. I'm happy to talk to you more. So thank you for having me, and I'll be around. Yeah.